Why did Shedeur Sanders fall so far in the draft?
Well, the eye in the sky does not lie, okay? There's really...
God damn.
The eye in the sky.
He was good at Jackson State. I give him. He did good at Colorado. He did. But there's not going to be 32 NFL owners and coaches that are going to skip a guy because of some underlying reason. They're going to draft a guy based on his talent and what he does, his size, height, weight, arm strength, ability to escape, decision making, all that stuff. He did not pass all those.
Jay Gruden just couldn't keep quiet, could he? The man dusted off that old playbook, but instead of X's and O's, it looks like a whole messy plan with Shedeur Sanders' name scribbled across every page. This ain't coaching strategy, it's straight daytime drama, where the quarterback is the leading man and Gruden is low-key gunning for the villain role. What's his real play with Shedeur? Stick around, because the truth is juicier than any NFL huddle. And let's be real, there's a reason Jay ain't patrolling NFL sidelines anymore. The guy couldn't even coach his way out of his own excuses, let alone run a winning team. He's like that neighbor flexing about how he almost fixed his car engine once. Yet every morning, there he is, waiting for an Uber-like clockwork. That's Jay in football terms. He had the chance, dropped the ball harder than a rookie wideout in a blizzard, and now he's out here tossing shade at Shedeur like his name still matters in the league. Spoiler alert, nah, it doesn't. And Shedeur, he's more than good enough. And that fact drives guys like Jay absolutely crazy. They can't stand that Shedeur is the quarterback they always dreamed of coaching, drafting, or even understanding.
In the tape, I just think Dylan Gabriel played better. If you put turnovers to the side, you take away the pick six, you take away the fumble, the sacks, the mixed cues. He had a cleaner football game than Shedeur. And of course, we sat up here, and Shedeur had a great game, phenomenal game, and not take anything from him. And you guys know firsthand, like, we all thought he should have went first round, maybe let second round. Okay, so Shedeur's a good football player, but Dylan's tape is just better. You know, and I understand Shedeur threw 2 touchdowns and Dylan Gabriel had the turnovers, but put the turnovers to the side. Okay, act like they never happened. If the turnovers never happened.
Instead, they're stuck on the sidelines, hurling weak criticism like soggy nachos at a tailgate, hoping somebody will pick it up. Spoiler, nobody's eating your stale takes, Jay. Here's the thing, no matter what the media screams, Shedeur stays locked in. The spotlight's burning, the cameras never leave his face, and every TV analyst is drooling, ready to either crown him or crucify him by Monday morning. Yet Shedeur just shrugs, flips open the playbook, and gets back to work. It's almost unfair how calm he is while chaos spins around him. You've got so-called experts foaming at the mouth, debating if he's overrated or underrated, and meanwhile, he's out there running drills like, "Cool story, guys. Hit me up when you're done pretending you know football." And it's a good thing he's built that way, because most of the folks running their mouths couldn't break down a defense if their fantasy league depended on it. Half of them wouldn't know the difference between cover 2 and a tube of sunscreen, but they swear they've cracked the Shedeur Sanders code. Sitting there behind screens like they're professors of the game, making wild suggestions he should throw quicker, scramble more, or maybe retire early. Man, the nerve is unbelievable. The audacity is wild, straight up staggering. Sure, football always had its critics, but now, this is a whole new era where anybody with Wi-Fi suddenly thinks they're Vince Lombardi. And guess who's leading that noisy chorus? Jay, classic case of couldn't cut it in the league, so now I'm throwing stones from the parking lot. If Jay had even half the awareness Shedeur's got, he'd still be rocking a headset instead of running his mouth into a podcast mic.
Game is of Colorado Buffalo, where everything comes to a pinnacle. It was awful, right?
Right.
So my point is, he got an opportunity in the 5th round. Let's give him the opportunity, let him earn his way, like most 5th round. Brock Purdy was a 7th rounder. Let him earn his way.
Yeah.
He played great in the first preseason game. Let's keep building blocks and see how he does. But nobody should be given the right to be a 1st round pick just because of the name or whatever. You got to earn that stuff, and he did not earn it based on his college tape from a evaluation standpoint, in my opinion. I saw him play. I watched him. He had some good games, did a lot of great things. I get it. But to say that he's a 1st round pick, he's going to lead my team for the next 15 years, he did not show that.
That's the difference right there. Shedeur puts in the grind. Hours spent perfecting mechanics, breaking down defenses, adjusting reads, while Jay spends hours coming up with excuses for why his coaching record looks like a grocery list full of expired items. And the irony? Oh, it's delicious. Shedeur doesn't even have to clap back. The way he plays speaks louder than words. Every tight spiral, every calm drive, every possession dripping with poise. It's like a silent middle finger to every single doubter out there. Meanwhile, Jay's biggest contribution to football these days is showing the world exactly how not to run a franchise. It's almost poetic, a washed-up critic trying to dim the glow of a rising star, but all he really does is shine a spotlight on his own failures. And the funniest part, the media, plus guys like Jay, actually think Shedeur is gonna fold under all that noise. It's almost hilarious watching people try to nitpick his game. One incomplete pass and suddenly they treat it like the Zapruder film. Slow-mo replays, red circles all over the screen, arrows pointing in every direction. One missed throw magically becomes proof he's a fraud. Meanwhile, these same experts conveniently ignore the 27 completions he dropped on defenses, like he was playing darts with a cheat code.
Sanders isn't going to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, not because of some ridiculous league-wide conspiracy, but because he is simply not good enough. Quarterback drop depth is very important to the offensive line because they set their protection, i.e. the pocket, based on where they expect their quarterback to be. The tackles, for example, will get to a specific depth to position themselves perfectly in between the pass rushers and the quarterback they are trying to sack. But what Shedeur is going to do is he is going to slowly but surely drift back out of this pocket. All of these steps that he is taking him outside of his protection.
That's the kind of delusion we're dealing with. And Jay Gruden, he's basically president of the Let's Misinterpret Shedeur fan club. He'll twist a touchdown into a mistake just so he can hype up his own flimsy argument. That's like burning toast and blaming the bread for not being grill ready. Zero accountability, just straight up nonsense dressed up as analysis. But here's what really burns them. Shedeur doesn't waste a second clapping back. He's too busy perfecting his reads, tightening up his footwork, studying film until his eyes practically blur. He's not scrolling Twitter to see if Jay thinks his release was 0.02 seconds late. He's already on the field proving it wasn't. That's the difference between a real competitor and someone just cosplaying as one on TV. Let's keep it real. The NFL graveyard is packed with players who had talent but couldn't survive the noise. The moment the spotlight got too hot, they folded like a cheap tent in a hurricane. But that ain't Shedeur. He's got the patience of a chess grandmaster and the swagger of a dude who knows he's already 2 steps ahead. It doesn't matter how many critics line up against him. They're basically pawns while he's out here plotting checkmates. If anything, the circus around his name proves he's legit, because nobody wastes this much energy trying to tear down someone irrelevant.
Who was the first round quarterback, Skip?
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward. Who else?
Jackson Dart.
And so Jackson Dart was better than Shedeur.
Yeah. From a...
What did he do? Like, what tape is, where? What tape is this? Like, what did Jackson Dart do that was so much better than Shedeur?
He throws the ball.
Make his team win?
Yeah, they won. They did pretty good, right?
I feel like, man, I was around Shedeur. I grew up in Dallas. I seen him since he was on The Truth. They won the chip. Then I seen him go to that damn private school. They won the chip.
Yep.
You don't see Jay Gruden dissecting a practice squad quarterback for hours. Nah, the obsession is saved for Shedeur. Why? Because he forces people to pick a side. You either love him or you hate him, but ignoring him? Impossible. And that's what terrifies the critics most. The funniest part, Shedeur stays ice cold, unbothered. Most young players by now would have been baited into messy Twitter rants, cryptic Instagram posts, or even arguing with talk show clowns. But not Shedeur. He stays locked in, focused, calm, while the haters keep screaming into the void. The louder they get, the more desperate they look. Meanwhile, Jay's out here recycling his tired takes like a broken jukebox, while Shedeur's out there rewriting highlight reels in real time. The contrast couldn't be sharper. It's comedy at this point. One man lives off the past, the other is building the future, and every time Shedeur drops another flawless throw on tape, you can practically hear the critics choking on their hot takes. That's poetic justice at its finest. At this point, Jay Gruden doesn't sound like he has an opinion. He sounds like he has a grudge. Imagine being so bitter about your own failed coaching run that you wake up every morning brainstorming new ways to nitpick a college quarterback. That's not analysis. That's therapy with a microphone. Instead of booking a counseling session, Jay just projects his failures onto Shedeur. Sure, it's cheaper than therapy, but wow, it's a whole lot more embarrassing. Because let's not forget, Jay once had it all. He had NFL players, primetime games.
Scouting that, he's a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player.
For me,
being a fifth-round quarterback does not mean you're terrible now.
Ain't no way he was
Now, there are some guys that went head on.
Come on now. Like, so it's bigger than football. The shit with Shedeur was bigger than football. I don't know how all the owners got in cahoots, and I don't know. You feel me?
Ain't no way.
I don't know how it happened, but the shit was bigger than football.
No, it isn't. I'm sitting in this chair as a head coach, right? If I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be my guy that's going to work with me for the next 15 years, I'm taking him.
Well, why the fuck Leotis McKelvin get drafted before me? Because they thought he was better than me?
Probably.
No, because we ran the nigga over with the car.
Endless opportunities handed to him, and what did he do? He turned rosters into revolving doors of disappointment. He even made casual fans question if football was just too complicated for him to understand. That's not exactly the legacy you want hanging over your head when you're critiquing someone clearly on the rise. Yet here we are. Jay posted up in front of a mic, giving lectures on mechanics like his quarterbacks didn't look like they were running plays sketched out in crayon. That's like a chef who's famous for burning water trying to tell Gordon Ramsay how to boil an egg. The irony writes itself. The audacity is almost admirable, almost. Meanwhile, Shedeur stays cool because he doesn't need validation from a guy whose career highlight was screaming on the sidelines after a busted play. What Shedeur does need, and what he actually focuses on, is consistency. That's the killer trait most people overlook. He's not chasing clout, he's building habits. When the cameras shut off and the crowds clear out, he's still grinding, still perfecting the details. That's why he couldn't care less about Jay or any talking head questioning him. Shedeur knows the grind speaks louder than any half-baked hot take. But critics will never get that because they're addicted to their own voices. They hype themselves up.
Shedeur fans need to recognize there's not a team in the league he'd start for. Not one. That's not ridiculous. That's not unfair. That's not a vast conspiracy. You have folks that absolutely know better saying things like Shedeur was out there with the fifth string offensive line. First of all, there is no such thing as a fifth string offensive line. You have people who know better saying, oh, color me shocked. Those offensive linemen on the field with Shedeur were cut shortly after the game. No shit, man. Guess who doesn't make the team? Guys playing at the end of third preseason.
Convincing you they've cracked the Shedeur code, even though their expertise usually comes from a highlight reel and a couple of misquoted stats. That's like somebody claiming they're an astronaut just because they once watched Apollo 13. It's pure nonsense. The wildest part? The media keeps twisting themselves into knots trying to frame Shedeur's calm demeanor as a flaw. They'll say he's too composed, not fiery enough, not the rah-rah Hollywood version of a quarterback they expect. Meanwhile, his poise is the exact thing that sets him apart. It rattles them because it doesn't fit their tired narrative, as if leadership was about who can scream the loudest in the huddle. Real leadership is putting in the work so that when the spotlight hits, your team can trust you without hesitation. And that's exactly what Shedeur brings, command without chaos. Jay wouldn't recognize that if it smacked him right in the headset. He still thinks volume equals leadership, which explains way too much about his career collapse. For Shedeur, it's all about precision. Precision in every throw, precision in every read, precision in how he blocks out the noise. That's why critics end up sounding so ridiculous, because while they yap nonstop, it just makes it clearer that Shedeur is operating on a totally different level. And let's be real, if he wasn't this good, nobody would care. Nobody wastes this kind of energy trying to dismantle mediocrity. You don't see debate shows arguing over whether the backup punter's technique is flawed. Nah. This type of obsession only comes when someone is truly special, and Shedeur is exactly that. So while Jay loops his bitterness like a broken record, Shedeur keeps rewriting the story every Saturday with throws that silence whole stadiums.
Now, when I look at this stat line here, even though some people would look at the yards, some people would look at the touchdowns, what I'm seeing is the efficiency, but more or less, the sack yards. And the sack yards say what, Peggy?
5 of 41.
Okay, then go to the next one.
Joe Flacco was 1 sack for 9 yards.
Go to the next one.
Dylan Gabriel was 0-0.
Hello!
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of determining factors there, Peggy. And I think what we all want to see is equal rights.
Shedeur, when 31 other organizations said he's cancer, we don't want to draft him at that high level. And it might not be him. He could be a great kid, great quarterback. It's everything that he brings.
And that's the question I have. What does he bring?
Right.
He brings, coming from a Hall of Fame dad.
Does he watch film?
That's the thing.
Does he do anything
Pat Shurmur
in the room?
Confirmed that he does. And Pat Shurmur, coach with the Browns, was in the NFL and said, if you need a quarterback, this is the guy.
One man stuck living in the past, the other building the future. And with every snap, that gap only gets wider. The wild part? Jay and the media still think their noise actually matters. They toss darts at Shedeur's name like it's some carnival game, but the target ain't even in the same room. Shedeur's not listening, he's too locked in on preparing. It's like heckling somebody through a soundproof window. The only people hearing it are the hecklers themselves, yet they keep going. Every drop pass suddenly turns into a week-long documentary about why Shedeur will never make it. Every tiny mistake gets spun into some prophecy of doom. They act like perfection is the baseline, but let's not forget, these are the same folks who once crowned Jay a genius off a single halfway decent season. Their judgment isn't just flawed, it's laughably unreliable. What really drives them mad is that Shedeur doesn't fit their tired script. He's not cocky enough to play the villain, not shaky enough to be labeled a bust, not flashy enough to be dismissed as style over substance. Instead, he's steady, sharp, relentless in his improvement, and that's what eats at them. Because calm competence can't be monetized, and Shedeur won't hand them the drama they're begging for. So what do? They just invent it. They twist his silence into arrogance, his focus into aloofness, his confidence into entitlement. They spin wild narratives because it's easier than facing the truth. Shedeur is everything they can't control. That's why Jay's comments drip with desperation. He's not analyzing. He's auditioning just to stay relevant. Meanwhile, Shedeur's legacy is stacking up brick by brick, throw by throw, until all that outside noise fades into the background where it belongs. And the funniest part? Shedeur doesn't even need to say a word. His game does all the talking, loud and clear. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, share it with your people, and I'll catch you on the next one.